Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. If you're new to my channel, I welcome you all. I'm Aspie. I'm all about creating mental health and awareness and sharing my life stories with Aspergers Syndrome and the like. It has been brought to my attention right now that I'm doing the Autism series, as you know, with a broad range of topics that will come into play, but I'm going to take a quick break from that because I would like to try and address to you all about the Altogether Autism Conference that I didn't attend, that was on last month of July 19th and 20th, which I was hoping to go to, but obviously I didn't due to my personal reasons, but I thought maybe to share it with you all about what was covered and everything else, and maybe while you're journeying with me, if there's any of interest of the topics I may share with these, you can follow through with me and actually maybe either stop to pause one of the segments that's in the video that's taking your fancy, or as I'll clearly address right now, some of it will be listed in the key description, hopefully what was covered, as well as maybe just hoping to see if I can incorporate the notes step by step. So if you're following me right now, as you know me or should know me by now, I'm Aspie. I'm all about creating mental health and awareness series versus sharing my life stories with Aspergers Syndrome and the like, along with basically tips and advice along the way for you all versus your general health and your actual health in general. I also do some fun and games along the way, so if there's anything there that I share with you all when you're on the lookout for some videos, be it if it's motivational versus just a bit of fun and entertainment, I'm hoping I'll be your girl. And if you're liking any of these videos and you want to see more of them, let me know in the comments below, or just maybe following me as part of the YouTube family with me to know what my life is like with Aspergers Syndrome, as well as just, you know, being part of the YouTube family in general. And while you're there, if you've decided to subscribe, basically feel free to turn on the notification bell so you can keep up to date with new content that I hope to address every day, you know, if I can. So this one's all about, as I said, Altogether Autism. And just a brief overview before I continue, what I shared in the introductory piece was basically I talked about what Altogether Autism is as a New Zealand organisation. As you know, basically I'm located in New Zealand. It's a free nationwide service basically here in New Zealand that offers New Zealand Autism Spectrum information and some advisory services for people on the spectrum and not, you know, and they join in partnership with Unlimited Life Charitable Trust as well as Parent to Parent New Zealand. I also shared in briefly in the piece basically what I hope to address was the conference, just a little bit about the conference, you know, real brief and short, and then obviously as I address that, I'll be linking up the program outline and a script or a scroll-like feature for you guys to view what was there for those 2 days of the conference, along with just a brief overview of right now of the program outline with the key speakers and whatnot. But this one's a bit more in depth of introducing these key speakers from New Zealand and outside New Zealand, of their roles and whatnot, as well as what it's going to be covering for these topics. So hopefully you're enjoying these, and all further ado, guys, basically let's begin this before I run out of time. So speaker number one basically was, as I shared earlier in video one, or part one of the series of the Altogether Autism Conference, is the lady for Professor Rita Jordan. This one was basically of a topic called Current Understanding of the Autism Spectrum and Implications for Education and Support. So more about Professor Rita Jordan, basically session one of stream one about peer mentoring by a person named Paula Jessup. This one is all about, for this, like, peer mentoring will cover the subtopics, what it is and how it can help young autistic adults to transit to independent living. In this abstract, basically Paula will outline what peer mentoring is and how it could be useful to assist people in facing the everyday challenges that transitions do and the changes into the life being that brings. Peer mentoring holds great potential to assist young adults into transitioning to independent adult living. Peer mentoring is a method of working with disabled people or those who experience mental health distress, where mentors draw on their lived experiences and strengths-based methods to assist individuals to have good quality independent lives. In New Zealand, peer support is gaining momentum in the mental health field, with peer support organisations now found in most cities throughout New Zealand and increasingly district health board funded. This increase in mental health peer support services in New Zealand is due to proven success of the method in assisting people to become more independent and achieve their personal goals. Paula believes peer mentoring of this nature holds the same potential for success for autistic people. Basically, a bit about Paula here is she holds a peer support qualification gained through Mind and Body and has supported people in mental health services in a peer supportive manner for the last 5 years. She is now embarking on providing peer support to autistic people through her business, Autism Insights, and hopes this will find a much needed service to young autistic people. Paula has been a strong advocate for the rights of autistic people for many years and constantly advocates for the radical acceptance of autistic people. And stream 2 basically is listed basically for this is a journey of empowerment by Maureen Poulter and Thor Poulter. This presentation will focus on what they have done to support Thor to help him participate in society and have the life he would like to have. It will include Thor's perspective on key aspects of his life and interventions. There have been 3 key stages on this journey. The early years will focus on the son's journey and their journey together as, mother and son through their early intervention, the importance of early intervention. Key interventions that will basically focus on include play-based therapy, something that was hugely successful for Tor. And also key early interventions including this will giving their son a voice using sign language, the use of Gail Gillen early phonological skills research program, and how this supported the son's speech and language development. The next part of it is the middle years, which will highlight the difficulties of primary school life for Tor, including interventions strategies that supported these years of his life. Key interventions will include other door programs, supported reading programs, supported math programs, and how they continue to support Tor's social skill development. Last but not least, the senior years, how they are preparing for life after school for Tor, what their focuses are, and how they're learning specific skills are so that Tor can be independent as he can be. Okay, about the presenter, she's a mother of a 19-year-old autistic son and a deputy principal within a special education school. She has completed a Master of Education Endurance in Inclusive and Special Education through the University of Canterbury. Her son, Tor, currently attends school in a special unit within a high school. He is focusing transitioning to life after school as he will be completing his schooling at the end of 2018. And obviously, Tor was diagnosed with Autism Spectrum disorder and a mild intellectual disability. Next on the list is Rachel Wiltshire. Her presentation will be called The C Word, Personal Experiences of Coping with Change and Growing Up as an SP on her perspective. Next one is basically Holly Smith in Stream 3 and Peter Dalrett, Learning from the Future. Autism Leading the Way is their topic. A little bit of the abstract here is January 12, 2013, Miss Montana Alexis Weinman finished in the top 16 of the Miss America competition, which was noted as the first woman with autism ever to compete. Is that remarkable or inevitable if more than 1 person in 10 really does have autism? If the growing incidence were to continue at its present rate, which it won't, 99.6% of school-aged children in Wisconsin will have an autism diagnosis by the year 2191. The resources are overstretched and the costs are alarming. Some ludicrous approaches to intervention has been tried and even been celebrated with variable attention to scientific evaluation. Early behavioural intervention is sometimes remarkably positive, but as widely applied, it is very expensive, laborious, learning from the past. By contrast, a rapid, low-cost alternative is fed forward, self-modelling to learn from the future. Striking examples are proved by a mum in Sydney who made 1 video a week for 6 years for her son with autism. Right, next on the list is basically Stream 4. Sari Jackson, John Vogensler, and Rebecca Armstrong, Jane Hasty. These ones is all about developing our autism workforce. In the abstract, it reads, in 2016, Te published a report commissioned by the Ministry of Health here in New Zealand determining the workforce development needs of New Zealand's autism workforce. Findings from this report indicate that the current autism workforce will be challenged by the greater diversity of needs of people across the spectrum, and learning and development appropriate to this will be required. It's also been identified that families would prefer more skilled personnel and specialist practice support and advisory roles. Explore Specialist Advice is the national provider of specialist behaviour support to people with disabilities. There has been also some other services that has been obviously included in this. So speaker 2 is Sue Kenner, which she talks about basically smooth transitions. A little bit about her. She has a master's degree in education as a specialist teacher with an endorsement in autism. She currently works as a special education needs coordinator at Hutt Intermediate School. Kinnear is passionate about the genuine and authentic inclusion of students with special needs in the mainstream classrooms, in particular developing effective strategies to provide support for students in the 3 key areas. During her keynote, transition to intermediate school, transitions while at intermediate school, and finally transition to a chosen college of the choice for the autistic. During her keynote presentation, Kenya will be sharing the systems, strategies, and practice that she has established to support transitions at the school where she currently works, with an emphasis on the importance of that constantly reflects and identifies the next step for growth. Another one will be for this will be Emma Godel. She'll be talking about basically safety and relationships transitioning to adulthood positively. In this abstract, basically, we'll focus on the issues faced by autistics as they navigate the social, economic, sexual, and power balances involved in sexual and non-sexual relationships. It's important that parents, teachers, support workers, and other professionals are aware of these issues and the reasons to why so many autistic adults experience abuse of one or many kinds. Basically, about Emma Goodall, she is a senior autism advisor for the Department for Education and Child Development in South Australia. She also is an author, blogger, autistic parent, partner, and self-advocate. Stream 4 by Rachel Jordan, the one I clearly addressed to you all. She'll be addressing self-interest behaviour across the spectrum, issues and support and prevention. In this abstract, self-interest behaviour is strongly associated with the autism spectrum, but is seldom recognised outside of those with additional intellectual behaviour. Basically, what this will be addressed for these issues will include, of her speaking, is the role and management of restraint, informed choices, taking the perspective of individuals on the spectrum to understand behaviour, providing more adaptive behaviours and working towards resilience, interpreting behaviour as if it were communication, the role of meaningful activity. And another one in the presentation session will be Tanya Patterson, which she'll be talking about psychological health, substance and abuse, and autism, basically. In this abstract, it reads, autistic people face challenges with their psychological health, including substance use and addiction. Conventional wisdom holds that autistic people aren't at much risk of dependence on alcohol or other drugs. However, new evidence suggests otherwise. Autistic psychological health differences present in ways that confuse medical practitioners. This is more prominent in the more camouflaged autistic who don't have ID and possibly are unidentified or undiagnosed. Presenting the gap in professional understanding for these issues results in exclusion from certain services here in New Zealand. Whether this is mental health, not able to deal with autism, or disability providers not able to manage addiction issues, this leads to further compounding some of these problems and puts people at serious risk, not to mention leaving their whānau at odds as how to assist them. The key concepts basically that she addressed, though, however, is that overlap with psychological health, addiction, and autism, which are social interactions, anxiety and depression, community and relationships. Drug of choice becomes key relationship due to predictably obsessive thinking, no pressure, ovary separation, century of the positive or negatives. Importantly, this will obviously come into play of some of these abstracts of what I'm sharing with you all. She will also basically share her individual experience growing up as an unrecognized autistic to indicate some key factors that she feels influenced by her decision making. She will also draw out her professional skills and knowledge as an addiction practitioner and available specific research. The focus of her presentation will be drugs, confusion, mixed messages and risk, harm reduction, mindset and setting, assertiveness, ideas with a handout available primarily digital. About her is Tanya Patterson has many years' experience as both a mental health and addiction service client and more recently as a practitioner and advocate. She sees an 8-year methadone dependent in 2006. Since then, she has been qualified as an addiction practitioner. 2 years ago, at the age of 39 years, she received a formal diagnosis of level 1 autism, previously known as Aspergers Syndrome. This has led to much greater awareness of the intersection between autism and addiction, an area that is often neglected. She recently sat on the Te Pō Autism Workforce Development Strategy Planning panel also. Right, as you can see, there's a lot more of the keynote speakers, which I'll clearly address to you more on when I do it briefly into the topics. So give me a like for thumbs up support. If you want any more information, feel free to just let me know. And all for the day, guys, thanks for support, thanks for watching, sit tight, and I'll be back with you in the next few series over.